Your phone just got a new brain. Apple calls it Apple Intelligence, AI baked into your iPhone. It lives on your device and vows to keep every whisper private. No cloud, no snooping, or so they promise. Before you relax, ask one thing. If a secret stays silent, how can you be sure? Your phone is busy even when you don't notice. Every text you type, every voice note you send, even a quick live translation is now handled by the new Apple Intelligence system. Apple says these jobs happen on device, meaning the work stays on your phone's chip, not on distant servers. Here's what that looks like in daily life. You draft a message and let AI fix the tone. You point the camera at a sign and hear an instant translation. You screen a call to check if it's spam. Each task is finished before any data can head to the cloud. Apple claims the result is speed and privacy in one package, but on-device is a promise, not a guarantee. 5 months ago, Apple paid $95 million to settle charges that Siri recordings were stored and reviewed without clear consent. So the question is simple. If your phone holds the secret, who checks that it never slips out? At its June 2025 WWDC keynote, Apple rolled out Apple Intelligence in plain language. You get new tools, call screening, message sorting, and live translation. And Apple says each one runs right on your phone's chip. On-device means the data never touches another computer, only the silicon in your hand. Quick look at those tools. Call screening. The AI shows you a live text version of what the caller is saying, so you decide whether to pick up. Message filtering. It shuffles promos and spam away from real chats. Live translation. It turns spoken words into another language in real time, even inside a call. On-device keeps them fast and offline, but Apple admits some jobs are too big for a phone. For those, it built private cloud compute, PCC, its own servers that handle heavy lifting. PCC is sold as a privacy cloud. Requests travel out encrypted, split from your name or Apple ID, then are deleted after they're done. Apple also says every PCC server runs only code that outside researchers can inspect. If the code changes without review, your phone refuses to connect. That watchdog step is meant to prove no one, including Apple staff, can peek at your raw data. The company's bottom line promise: your request is processed, then wiped, and it never links back to you. Apple hangs its reputation on that line, but history shows promises are easier than proof. Apple's record on privacy isn't spotless. The company agreed to pay $95 million because Siri had been recording private talks without clear consent. The case showed that even a feature meant to help you could end up eavesdropping instead. Now researchers from Aalto University say many built-in iPhone apps still send data home even when you try to switch them off. The study found that settings are scattered and hard to follow, so most people never manage to shut the data tab. The big fear is metadata. Metadata is data about data. Details like who you text, when, and for how long. Security papers and real-world leaks show why it matters. Phone record breach at AT&T let criminals map who called whom and when, without needing call audio. Tests on Apple iMessage proved an observer could guess message length and language just by watching encrypted traffic. Even though your words stay hidden, these clues can sketch a detailed profile of your life. So when Apple says on-device, it sounds safe. But history, hard-to-find settings, and the silent trail of metadata keep many users, maybe you, looking over their shoulder. Voices online split into two clear camps. One group trusts the new walls Apple built. The other sees cracks. A longtime poster on r/privacy calms the crowd. Apple cannot directly read your data in a human-readable way, thanks to on-device processing and encryption. They point to the chip in your pocket, not the cloud in the sky. A security engineer on Apple goes further. They praise private cloud compute, PCC. There's full remote attestation every time your device makes a request. Remote attestation means the phone checks a server's fingerprint before sending anything. If the code changes, the phone walks away. Why some experts still hesitate? First, Apple says PCC servers wipe themselves on every reboot and keep no hard drives. Second, auditors can download every server image and compare signatures. Third, yet outside researchers admit they haven't had time to dig deep, so the promise is, looks promising but unproven. Fourth, academic work on cloud confidential computing warns that providers still control key parts of the stack, so a determined insider could bypass attestation. On the darker side, another r/privacy thread reminds you that encryption does not equal anonymity. If an AI is watching every screen and keystroke, the encryption doesn't matter. That fear is simple. Once data hits RAM, even for a millisecond, software can peak. So you stand between two truths. 1. Strong tech, hardware keys, sealed servers, and code you can inspect. 2. Human risk. People must still run, audit, and patch that tech. Which truth feels heavier to you? Please give a comment below. Think of on-device AI as a tiny lab built inside your phone. The chip does the math right where the data is born, so nothing travels far. That brings 3 gains you feel every day: speed, offline use, and tighter privacy. But big jobs, like summarizing a 50-page PDF, need more muscle than your phone holds. For those, Apple hands work to Private Cloud Compute, PCC, a set of Apple-owned servers that use the same Apple silicon found in your phone. Here's how the handoff works. First, your phone checks the server's fingerprint through remote attestation, a test that proves the code hasn't changed. If the check fails, the request is blocked. Second, the snippet of data needed for the task travels up encrypted, is processed, then erased. Apple says, nothing is stored or tied back to you. On-device wins. First, instant answers, no waiting for a round trip. Second, works on a plane or in poor reception. Third, data never leaves your hand. Cloud wins. First, larger models, deeper analysis. Second, faster updates, because Apple can patch the server, not every phone. Your phone may keep the words you type on device, but Apple still learns who you are. The company's own privacy policy says it records how you use apps, search, and even crashes. Engineers also watch your keyboard patterns to spot flights or contacts you mention. First, that invisible log can cover a lot. Second, when you call or message. Third, how fast you type and which emojis you pick. Fourth, which apps you open first each morning. Fifth, the ads you tap in Apple News. Each item looks harmless alone, yet together they form a profile, a summary of your habits and interests. Apple wraps this profile inside a walled garden. A walled garden is a closed system in which one company controls the hardware, the software, and the store. Leaving it is hard because your purchases, photos, and even watch data live inside the same fence. Regulators in Europe and the US are now writing laws to pry those walls open. Why does lock-in matter? Lock-in means switching costs start to feel bigger than your privacy worries. You stay because your whole digital life is stuck to the garden's walls. A Guardian columnist says the iPhone's Eden is starting to feel more like a pen. Meanwhile, Siri still trails rival assistants. Analysts call the gap an intelligence void, noting Apple's delays while Google, Samsung, and others ship larger AI models. Reports this month show Siri upgrades pushed to 2026, widening that gap. Apple's slower pace is tied to its privacy stance. Less data leaves your device, so the company has less fuel to train gigantic models. That trade-off keeps your raw words local, yet may also keep Siri from getting smarter as fast as Gemini or Galaxy AI. The shadow stays the same. On-device AI feels safe, but the wider Apple network still maps your behaviour, keeps you fenced in, and moves more cautiously than its competitors. Knowing that, you can decide how much trust and how many secrets you're willing to hand over. Your privacy feels personal. You text a friend about a doctor visit, whisper a passcode, or translate a private joke. You believe those words stay locked in your phone. Apple tells you even the big jobs run through private cloud compute and are wiped right after. Yet the $95 million Siri case reminds you that past promises failed. Recordings slipped out and strangers listened. And there's metadata, the hidden clues about when you spoke, how long, and who was on the other end. Researchers show that, even with strong encryption, traffic patterns can sketch your daily routine. So every time you trust Apple Intelligence to fix your tone or screen a call, you open the gate to crack. Ask yourself, are a few seconds of AI convenience worth one new entry in a profile about you? If a future breach headlines tomorrow, would you wish you had kept that secret off your phone? The choice is quiet, private, yours alone, but its echo could be loud. Apple says Apple Intelligence keeps your data safe. No one, not even Apple, can see your information, the company repeats, when it talks about private cloud compute, its new set of servers that handle the heavy jobs. Those words sound firm, but you just watched Apple pay $95 million because Siri once captured private talks without clear consent. Researchers also warn that patterns, called metadata, can still reveal who you text, when, and how often, even when messages stay encrypted. So before you hand every whisper to Apple Intelligence, pause and check your own comfort level. Do you trust Apple's promise that its cloud is a black box no one can open? Would you be okay if tomorrow's headline proved that promise wrong? Is the speed and polish of on-device AI worth the chance that another leak appears? Think it through, then decide. If you have thoughts or questions, share them below. And if you want more plain-spoken tech breakdowns like this, consider subscribing.